Just in 1, 2.
What do we do with them? What options do they have elsewhere as other products?
Alrighty, how are we all going? Last stragglers coming in. You like one? Okay, everyone, good evening. Give me a wave if you can hear me off the back. Oh, amazing. Welcome. Before we get started, so you don't feel seasick, jumping between a 5-foot and a 6'5", I'm actually just going to stand up here this evening. Sorry, Mark.
Being my height, Sarah.
Yeah. I'll take it. Welcome to the grand final of the Pitch Off series. I am so overwhelmed and excited by the number of people here. We've packed out the room. I think there's about 170 smiling faces ready for our pitches. Just quickly, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Sarah, and I'm the Community and Events Coordinator here at Brisbane.
And I'm Mark. I'm the City Manager here at Fishburners, and on behalf of the team, would like to extend a huge welcome to you all. Thank you very much for coming tonight. God bless you, Anne-Marie. Like, if we can have everyone like you up at the back cheering like that. Now, just quickly, who's here for the first time at Fishburners tonight? Awesome. Amazing. Big round of applause for the first time people here. Who's here for the second, third, fourth, fifth time tonight? You're a veteran. You've been here plenty of times. Excellent. Welcome back and thank you for coming. In regards to Fishburners, Sarah, do you want to quickly tell everybody about Fishburners and who we are?
Sure. For the newbies in the room, so we're in the Capital, and the Capital is a building backed by Brisbane City Council and Brisbane Marketing, and we're one of the lucky tenants here, along with Little Tokyo 2. Fishburners is a co-working space for early-stage tech startups. We started about 7 years ago down in Sydney in Ultimo, and 1.5 years ago we expanded and came to Brisbane. In the Brisbane space, we have 120 members and over 75 startups. And 4 of them today are going to pitch and tell you a little bit about what they're working on.
Isn't that exciting? Yeah. Big round of applause for the pitches as we... I'm just the front. Just quickly, who here is running a startup of their own? Awesome. Wow. Who is working with a startup at the moment? Who's employed by a startup? Great. Who is not working with a startup and would like to? Awesome. My name is Mark. I'll see you afterwards. But before we go any further, a couple of things that we want to do. Firstly, an acknowledgement of country. We want to pay our respects and quickly say a big thank you and acknowledgement of the traditional owners of the land that we meet here today, the Turrbal people and the Jogara people. And we also had, interestingly enough, tonight or this afternoon and yesterday, we had the First Nations Youth Summit here as well, where we had over 80 First Nations students, entrepreneurs, and people interested in small business here with Dewal, who's one of the speakers tonight, and with a gentleman called Dean, who runs the Barry Amwell Accelerator. So big shout out to anybody here, First Nations, who is in the crowd tonight, and certainly from my point of view, just want to pay my respects and thanks.
Another acknowledgement we always do with events at Fishburners is acknowledge our code of conduct. Our code of conduct makes sure that everyone in our events and whilst their members here feel included. So if there's ever a point throughout the evening that this isn't the case, please feel free to speak to one of our team here. We have Mark, myself, Ayush, Ria, Kat, they're somewhere in the room. There they are. So yeah, the next thing would be housekeeping. Just quickly, we have the bathrooms straight down the end, and we have 2 emergency exits, one down near the bathrooms and one here just behind the pizzas. And lucky last, there is food and drink, I'm guessing the food's all gone, but plenty of drinks. So afterwards, please hang around for some networking and enjoy your Friday night.
Excellent. Thanks, Sarah. Now, just quickly, who has come to one of the previous pitches in this pitch series so far? Excellent. Who's here for the first time? Wonderful. So, just to give a bit of a nutshell in regards to what we're doing here at Fishburners, over the last 10 weeks, we've had a pitching competition to get our startups out in front of the community and telling their story and explaining what they're working on. We've had 28 pitches, we've had 28 big pitch, which we'll explain in a minute. We've had 7 heats, 7 finalists, and a wild card who, bless, nearly quit his business last week on stage. Thank you, Stu, for that heart attack. That was fantastic. But it's all climax to this. And so our goal tonight is to showcase some of the best startups here at Fishburners, but to give them a chance to be able to talk to a big crowd, because at some stage in the not too distant future, they might have to do that for capital or for clients or to explain to potential customers what they're working on. Thank you very much for coming along tonight. It matters a lot. And we're going to get pretty well into it in the not too distant future. So I'll throw it to Sarah to talk about the sponsors.
No worries. So at Fishburners, we have amazing sponsors that help us throughout the years. So a big shout out to Google for Entrepreneurs, Optus, IP Australia, Brisbane Marketing, and Jobs for New South Wales. And then this series, throughout the 10 weeks, we have had 10 amazing sponsors that have helped us put on events like this to a scale of this size. So a big shout out goes to Brewdog Australia, Optus, Innovate, Brisbane Marketing, Digital Brisbane, Red Bull, Uber, Myriad, Blue Chili, and Morton Ventures. Please give them a round of applause. And as this is a grand final, there will be prizes. So the lucky 4 here are already winners. Welcome. But for the first prize, which will be judged by the Big Fish this evening, the winner will take home a Google Home package donated by Innovate, and Rebecca will tell a little bit more about that soon, and also $100 worth of Uber credits, and also the opportunity to pitch to the whole of the Brisbane marketing team at their next monthly all-hands meeting. Second prize, which will be chosen by the audience by a big cheer, will have a $150 JB Hi-Fi credit, as well as a $100 Uber credit. And third and fourth will also take home a $100 Uber credit. Before we start, I'd like Mark to introduce Rebecca as a special guest of us joining us this evening.
I love that I got an introduction to introduce somebody. That was awesome, Sarah. For those who don't know, Fishburners started about 7 years ago, and at the start, we had a patron saint who came in and supported us at the very start and was our very first sponsor. And that person was Rebecca Hay on behalf of Optus. And since then, she's been one of the biggest supporters of the Brisbane and the Sydney startup ecosystems. And it's a pleasure to quickly introduce to you all tonight her. She's going to quickly explain the program that she's working with at the moment that is sponsoring the pitches tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for our friend Rebecca Hay.
Hi everyone, thanks, and thanks for that lovely introduction, Mark. Fishburners is an awesome community, and for you new-timers or first-timers here, I would highly recommend it. It's the foundation that really builds Fishburners is the community, and I couldn't speak more highly of it. So if you want to get involved in the startup ecosystem and you want to start something, a great place to do that is here. So hope to see you again in the future. Okay. So my name's Rebecca Hay. I'm part of Singtel Innovate, and I wanted to just give you a very quick, because I know we have some pictures to get on with, a very quick overview of our Innovate Connect program that we have launched globally over the last week or two. And before I do that, I just want to give you a short overview of Innovate, Singtel Innovate, what we do, who we are and how we operate, and then I'll just get into the program quickly. So Singtel Innovate is the corporate venture arm of the Singtel Group. We have around 25 people globally, and we have hubs in Singapore is our headquarters. We have San Francisco as well as Tel Aviv, and we've recently opened in China, in Beijing. And essentially, we scout for early stage technology to invest in. We have made about 70 investments to date and have about 23 exits, but we don't just invest. We also look to partner with those many companies that we don't end up investing. And Innovate Connect is a program that we've launched to actually help bring startups and the Singtel Group together to solve innovative challenges. And this year we're looking to do one around a theme of internet connected things, so IoT. So why are we doing this? Well, we all know that the IoT wave is coming, and we're all trying to get ready for it. And we all know that, you know, everything in our house, car, home, what factory floors is going to beep at us and tell us what we should or shouldn't be doing, or how much we should or shouldn't be consuming. But, you know, we've been told by Gartner this represents about 20.4 billion connected units by 2020, and potentially a $3 trillion marketplace for internet connected services. So that's great, but how do we really harness that opportunity, and what do we need to do to get there? So huge challenge and opportunity. And what we'd like to do is partner with innovative, disruptive companies working in the IoT space, because we know that we can't just tap our vendors on the backs and say, can you help us solve this problem? We need to be much further progressed and a little bit more innovative than that, given what's coming down at us. So what's on offer? Really just to partner with us to collaborate to do a trial or a POC. There's 75 grand up for grabs for companies in the space selected to collaborate. And obviously, if we do go forward and there is a trial and opportunity, then perhaps we can roll that across the group in terms of commercial agreements. All you need to do is go to innovateconnect.com. Register. Applications are open till the 5th of April, and we will then shortlist prospective companies to work with and get you into pitch and go through the process and see where we end up. Why should you do this? Well, you get first-hand insight into what's happening within the group, what the priorities are around these themes and areas of IT, and what makes us click. So hopefully you can validate your businesses and take some of those insights and get some traction in market. Also, because you might have the opportunity to upscale and use and become a resale opportunity and a distribution for Optus to sell or the Singtel Group. And finally, from an investment perspective, there might be some follow-on or some investment that we might be able to make, which should that commercial opportunity be quite compelling. So where are the areas of focus? If you go to the website, there's a lot more information. I won't go into it in detail, but there's 6 focus areas. They're really around urban infrastructure, so smart cities. Utilities is another area, so how do we better manage our building infrastructure and consumption, building maintenance, understanding when we should be fixing stuff before it breaks, all that type of stuff. Transportation is another big theme, and that's really around autonomous vehicles, around user-based insurance opportunities, around safety, you name it. Security, IT security, that's really preventing breaches. And in-home is really experience personalisation and the experience within the home. How can we make that better through IoT? And lastly, and not least, our health and wellbeing. What can we do to keep people more active in home longer and more aware of their own personal health objectives? And that's it for me, folks. Thank you for giving me 5 minutes of your time tonight. Very much looking forward to seeing you guys pitch and awarding the prize a bit later. If you know of anyone who has a really great IT startup, please feel free to share with them, and I'll be around afterwards. If you have any questions, come just tap me on the shoulder and we can have a chat. And thank you very much, Mark. Back to you.
All right, so moving into the best part of the night, which is the pitches. But before we do, we have some amazing individuals we need to quickly introduce you to first. The big fish. So who are the big fish? They are people who are representing you tonight. They're going to be asking the tough questions to the pitches and making sure that they, I guess, get the thorough treatment that they deserve as grand finalists. But in the short term, I'll pass it to the big fish to introduce themselves. Give them a big round of applause, please.
Evening, everyone. My name is Kat Matson. I'm the Chief Digital Officer for Brisbane. You could say that I feel like I'm the mum sometimes. but I'm not old enough to be with the mum of the pitchers here this evening, maybe the high school guys. So I sit upstairs in Fishburners. I sit in the city's Economic Development Board, Brisbane Marketing. We are a wholly owned subsidiary of Brisbane City Council, and it is extraordinarily exciting to see this many people packed here tonight to see the pitchers. Nearly 2 years ago when we opened up the space, there were quite a number of critics who said, seriously, Kat, can we actually, provide a home? Is there enough demand? And I kind of went, we're actually creating demand by putting a startup hub in the heart of the CBD. And for me, one of the things that actually just fills me with so much pride and excitement is the fact that not only have we filled this space over and over and over again, but bringing startups into the heart of the CBD, taking them away from the fringes, actually puts you in the heart of the future of this city's economy. Not only do you contaminate and infect and teach the old dogs lots of new tricks, but you're also just making it far more visible why startups are so valuable. Not because you're creating the next unicorn, but because you are creating high value and meaningful jobs of the future that my kids who are currently playing ping pong will probably end up working in. So I'm extremely excited to be a big fish, I think, tonight. It might be a little bit better than being a big cat. I don't know what happens when a cat is a big fish. Anyway, we'll deal with that later. I'm looking forward to the pictures. Thanks, everyone.
Hi everyone, my name is Gina and I am the editor of Startup Daily, which is an online publication covering tech and startups across Australia. I am based in Sydney, so I've been up in Brisbane for the last couple of days exploring the hubs and meeting some of the startups here. I'm always looking for really interesting stories to tell, so if you think you have one, you should drop me a line because I want to hear it and our audience wants to as well. And I'm really excited about tonight, so thank you to Fishburners and Brisbane Marketing for having me. I'm excited.
Hello there. Hi everyone, my name is Pandora. I am the CEO of Fishburners. I think I have one of the best jobs in the world. One, because I work with the best team, including the team that puts together this pitch series, and tonight in particular, and also just being able to work with the over 400 startups we have across Sydney, Brisbane, Shanghai, and the 1,200 alumni of startups we have from the last 7 years. Sarah did such an awesome job at pitching Fishburners, so I won't go over the details, but thank you. As Kat said, this is amazing to see this many people packed in this room. Thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for supporting our startups. Thank you for supporting entrepreneurship in Brisbane. Have an awesome night, and thank you so much for supporting everyone here.
Hello, my name is Chad Ronaldo, and I am mapping and measuring the impact of startups across Australia. I do that a bit with the Office of the Queensland Chief Entrepreneur, and that's going to see me hit the road later this year on 10 months going across Australia, which is all very interesting, but I think the reason also that I'm a big fish is we were talking and Mark found out I was in the US Navy for 5 years on nuclear-powered submarines. He says, oh, you've been in the water, be a big fish. I said, okay. It is very exciting to see all the people here, hearing from the best of the best out of the entire series. You guys are going to be absolutely awesome. I really look forward to it. Thank you very much. It's going to be great.
So, we're now to the pitching stage. Now, for those who haven't been here before, there's not many rules, but here they are. The pitchers have 5 minutes. At 4 minutes, my fantastic new helper, Audrey, is going to ding them. We'll practice the ding. Okay, we'll come back to that. And then when they speak for more than 5, Audrey's going to ding them off. Awesome. Exactly. That's, she's getting me off now. What we would love is for you to give the audience, the pitchers as much energy as possible. You can really feel on the stage when you guys are super invested and interested in what they've got to say. So to get that, we're going to do a practice cheer. I want you to pretend that your best friend just told you that you had just won a Lamborghini, and I want you to practice your cheer. So on 3, we're going to cheer as loud as possible. 3, 2, 1. Woo! That's it. You just want a Lamborghini. Where's Van? Van, we need to excite these people a bit more. We'll try one more time. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Sarah, introduce the first pitch. May the pitches begin.
Amazing. Okay, so first up, we have Evan. If few fun facts about Evan before you jump on stage. Evan's a vet, which you will soon find out is his biggest passion. He's also was once part of Cirque du Soleil, and in a past life was a music manager and producer. Please make him welcome.
How are you doing, everyone? So yeah, my name's Dr. Evan Shaw. I'm a veterinarian and I'm also the founder of Flea Mail, which I'm going to tell you a bit about. Now, everyone knows that, vets, we tend to have there tends to be this tendency that we have this awesome life, and I'm actually here to tell you a story about how cool my job is. I'm actually here to tell you a pretty sad story. I'm here to talk to you about my little best mate, or ex-little best mate. This is serious. He was my very first orthopedics case. He broke his leg. I recuperated this guy for 4 weeks, rehomed him with a new family who absolutely loved this guy to death. And basically what happened was I had to sit them down, tell them a really good, important story about the absolutely terrible parasites we have in this country. 4 weeks later, he ended up on my hospital bench, and I unfortunately had to put him down because he had a paralysis tick. So this is something that happens in my job time and time again. It's the untold story of what we do. In one day, I actually had to put down 15 animals due to parasites down in Lismore Hospital. And I didn't spend 6 years at a medical school to kill animals. So let's have a look at a couple of facts about our industry. 25% of pets in Australia get no flea, tick and worming in their lifetime, and 80% of those that do only get 7 out of 12 treatments a year. It's the second most important reason for taking your animal to the vet, and I don't need to tell you how expensive we are. And every day 120 pets die or are euthanized because of preventable diseases. All of these are completely preventable. So why does this happen? Well, it's really, really complicated. Here's about 1/4 of the products that are in Australia, and as you can see, these products don't cover all the parasites. You need a combination. This is the same thing for cats. And if you think that's difficult, there's the dosing regime for one of those products. So there has to be a better way, right? You shouldn't need a pharmacology diploma to understand this. Dollar Shave Club sends me my razors each month. Why, as a vet, can't I do this with flea, tick and worming? Well, it turns out that now I can. So, Flea Mail will send your pet veterinary grade parasite protection each month when it's due for less than going to a pet store yourself. It is a simple 2-minute set and forget process. Tell me what you got, tell me how much it weighs, and each month I will send you this wonderful little blue pack. So, one thing, when the blue thing arrives, give it to your pet. It's even addressed to them. So, let's have a quick look at the current market. In Australia, there's 9 million dogs and cats in 6.3 million homes. It's a $1 billion industry that's growing every year. And there's 600,000 dogs and cats that are rehomed or bought each year. So these people need to know all this stuff. And it's very, very difficult. The big thing is no one really does what we do. There's actually a reason for this. I actually want to talk to you about what we want to concentrate on, which is this missing, forgotten market. So based on that 80% not only giving 7 out of 12 treatments a year, 38 million treatments are going missing in Australia every year, worth about $400 million at the retail level. So these are people who are already purchasing. They want to do the right thing, but they just forget, or they just find it too difficult and give the wrong things at the wrong time. So clearly there's a lot of competition in this space. Everyone knows Pet Barn and Green Cross and stuff like that. You can get this anywhere. But the big thing is this actually goes against their entire business model. This is the milk and bread of the industry. This is the thing that you have to go back for every 3 to 6 months. And that's how they get you to buy food, which is $8 billion in Australia, and the huge marked up toys, bowls, beds, and all of those sorts of things. They don't want to do what we do. They want you to go back each and every time. So where are we now with the business? We launched our MVP on the 13th of January. This week we fulfilled our 500th order. Woo! Our product development is we're available Australia-wide. So you should sign up today. Our business concentration is on the user experience and market testing through multiple channels. Our big plan, we want to be international. There is only one company in the world that does what we do, and they only do it with one single product. And it's a $34 billion industry. Just in China and the US alone, there are 500 million pets. We're actually way down on the list. So, put together a crack team in the last sort of month and a half, and we are ready for investment. Because unfortunately, I'm kind of broke. A little bit more about that. So we're looking for $150,000 for a pre-money valuation at $1 million. Mainly we'll be using the funding for marketing the services and brand online. Our financials are, if we get that 150,000, we'll break even in 2 years, and we have a return on investment of about 600 to 700%. These are very, very conservative numbers. That 5-year goal is only 0.8% of Australia's market only. So this is something that we can do quite easily. I'm Evan, I'm from Flea Mail, and you should sign your pet up today. The big questions.
Hello. Amazing pitch, really good job. I have a dog who's the love of my life, and we are pretty good at it, but we definitely sign up for something like this, so I'll be a customer. What's the big vision? Do you see this going into other product lines in the future? Are there any other sort of products that you can get out of this once you have that customer base?
Yes, definitely. So what I actually want to do is, this is the second most common reason for going to the vet. Number one's the vaccination and the wellness. The third reason is actually obesity-related diseases. That's an $8 billion market in Australia, and everybody overfeeds their pet. The whole industry is run by Mars, a candy company. They own 80% of all pet foods companies in the world, and are the highest employers of veterinarians in the world as well. So I actually want to get into that. I like money and everything like that, but pet health is my thing. I actually want to keep you from coming and seeing me. That's the whole idea of any of the ideas that I sort of have is actually to keep you away from me, because a lot of the time I've actually got to spend most of my time explaining to you why you should spend $2 grand on your pet to fix it and keep you away from the $140 euthanasia needle, which a lot of people go for. And like I said, I'm just so sick of putting down animals. Stuff that's preventable. This isn't being bitten by a snake or something like that. This is, you feed them too much, you don't give them a tablet. That's it. Yeah.
Well done, fantastic. Love the branding and the flow of the pitch, and also your marketing spend of $500 for 500 customers, like $1 a customer, and that's pretty inexpensive. How are you going to get the word out there? Obviously, with investment, you can help with that, but apart from running pitch events and getting everybody here to hear you, how are pet owners like me going to hear about your product?
So we are actually spending a lot of basically we're doing a lot of online development at the moment. Putting a post of a pet on Instagram is the highest interaction of any product or anything that goes on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, anything like that. So it does lend itself to actually explaining and educating people about this. But also we're actually joining with the RSPCA. So I spent a bit of time with the CSO and the Chief Veterinarian of RSPCA Australia developing this idea because it's a welfare thing. And I also spent about 6 months out at Wacol, which is the largest rehoming centre in the Southern Hemisphere. We're actually going to have this as a point of sale. So when you get your dog, instead of having someone sit down with you for 20 minutes and explain this stuff, people don't listen because they have a new puppy. So it goes in one ear and out the other, and then they end up being back at the hospital and stuff going, there's something wrong with my dog. It's like, yeah, it's riddled with worms because you didn't give it what it needed to. So our whole thing is, point of sale, $1 for their first month, and then to have it from them. So it also saves the RSPCA a huge amount of time explaining this stuff and hoping that they do it. And they know that they can actually send a pet home and it's on a veterinary healthcare plan from day dot. So they're not going to get those animals back, and they know that they're not going to be at the vet, and they know that they're not going to be put down or sent back to the RSPCA as well because too hard, too expensive. My dog scratches too much. Yeah.
That was a really great pitch. I think the pictures of the dogs and the stories about how many you've had to put down are really effective because that really connects with a lot of people. I wanted to know what the process of putting together the dosage for you looks like. Is that something you have to do yourself, or is that automated in the back end?
It's actually automated in the back end. So literally it's based off your postcode. It's just a very simple algorithm that punches out an SKU. It comes out, these are our little packages and stuff. It takes me 42 seconds to pack a pack. It's exceedingly cheap, and vet nurses are one of the cheapest employees in Australia. People don't actually know this, but everyone thinks we're rich. A veterinarian of 10 years experience in Australia earns about $63,000 to $65,000 a year.
So wrong.
And it takes you 16 years to get to that point. And you're also walking out of uni with almost $100,000 in debt as well, just to the government to do this. A vet nurse earns about $38,000 to $41,000 a year. And this is a full-time, ridiculously hard job. And I also have to do 2 months every year of what's called continuing education, which I don't get paid for. It actually costs me about $3,000 a year to do that. And I have to do that every single year just to keep my license to be a surgeon. So yeah, everyone thinks we're rich, and I say to everyone, go and have a look in the car park at all the cars that are parked there at your veterinary clinic, and see how bloody broke we are. Yeah. So yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Monica Bradley to the room. Evan, awesome tips. I found myself literally kind of feeling my pockets to find out how I could invest. Also, a little bit like Pandora, unfortunately it's not a dog, so I can't say we have a cat. The cat has us. And based on how much food the cat is currently asking for us, we know full well that it needs to be wormed, and the boys keep saying, when are you going to do that? And I go, what else? So we're up. I'm curious, how could you, or have you thought about partnering with, for example, one of the pet hair health insurance company providers like RACQ, where if I was to sign up to RACQ and part of that was I get your service as part of my insurance premium, it therefore reduces the risks on claims, but I know that I'm actually getting some return. I'm getting something tangible for paying my $10 extra a month on premiums.
I'm so happy you asked that question.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Yes. So my best mate's dad is actually the ex-treasurer of RACQ. So we have actually gone down this path, and I basically said to us, I can have a meeting with PricewaterhouseCoopers directors just this week to say, look, what we actually want to do is, if you go to any insurer in Australia, what do you get each year from your insurer, other than a PDF file that's got a bill on it? Yeah. So basically, because there are so many payouts and stuff for preventable parasite-related diseases, I've basically started a discussion with them to say, look, give something to someone that comes to your door every month. There's actually a reason this is the RACQ and Bugle Blue, because we actually want to partner with them from the very beginning. So what we actually want to do is basically have them either subsidise it, or guess what, you get it for free. It drops all their stuff down, and yeah, just makes it a lot easier for everyone, and you get something.
Thank you, Evan. Okay, moving right along. Next up, we have Dewal. And a couple of fun facts about Dewal. Dewal was the very first member for Fishburners here in Brisbane, and he's still here. Floating around on level 3, he makes a great chai tea. Anyway, please make him welcome.
I'm going to get up here because I'm short problems. All right, so my name is Deval Nayak, and I'm here to talk to you about a project that we've been working on. It's called Grant. And it's simply an online platform that bridges the gap between young people, school, and real-world experiences. Now, the problem, as you all may know, as a teenager, you go through several things. Anyone who watched Big Mouth would know what that's like. But that's not the problem we're solving. We're solving the problem of what's next. What's next? When you're a teenager, when you're in high school, everyone's asking you this question, your parents, your peers, what's next? It gets really annoying. People are expecting you to go to university or a vocational trade, and this kind of question builds pressure. Your parents want you to focus on getting good grades. Your school wants you to focusing on the subjects, while you still don't have a clear idea of what these subjects are going to do in real world. That's part one problem. Part two of this problem is for the educators. Educators have everyday problems. They have to deal with getting the young kids engaged. They have to focus on the curriculum. They have to focus on the attendance rate, and especially with the guidance officer, they cannot provide the guidance that's required specifically individually. It's part 2 problem. Part 3 of this problem is for the businesses organization that are trying to recruit young people. Now for them, some of this workforce, they have aging workforce. They're trying to get young people on board. And they need them to have the right skills to adapt the business culture and get started as soon as possible. Part of the solution is a platform, an online platform, and I call this a part of the solution because there's so many other things that we're doing. Online helps us enable that solution, and it's a platform that provides opportunity experiences to young people while they're still at schools through the trusted network of industry partners and businesses. Now, how does this platform help? For students, they don't have to create a CV anymore. They don't need to go on Seek or Indeed platform to find work experience opportunity. For schools, they don't. They can extend their reach to all the students in the school. The guidance role becomes much easier. They can have trusted partners that can provide more opportunities to the young kids. And for businesses, they can recruit young people through the trusted network of schools, and it all becomes hell of a easier to have a sustainable business for the long run. In terms of the business model, very simple. For students and businesses, it's a freemium model. And for schools, there are paying customers. In terms of traction, so far we've onboarded several schools. Some of them are still conservative, so we're holding on to them until we launch the product. Tell you what, we haven't launched the product, but we've reached 5-figure revenue. That's amazing for us. We're still about to launch the product in about 4 weeks' time, and we've already had paying customers. That's very exciting for us. In terms of our channel, we're using the government network and the education department and the training department who have programs currently in the school, and they're trying to reach as many students as they can to provide them opportunities. And that's been exciting. We've been working over the last 12 months to build a relationship with these partners. In terms of competitors, we have several competitors. What makes us different is that we've been working with the principals and the education leaders who understand the problem, and that's what makes us different. That we've taken 12 months to actually understand what the problem is, and that's why it makes us different. And we've focused on future skills rather than the short term. In terms of market, we're going to focus for first financial year to 272 schools here in Queensland, and later on we hope to expand to 3,200 schools throughout Australia and about 1.5 million students. In terms of the roadmap, 2017, that's where the idea was born. It took me about 12 months, 18 months to build relationship with educators, and it's taken so long, but we've come up with a solution that was required. This year, we've built a team of 5. We're about to launch the product. We also started a campaign called the Grand Student Campaign. We're about to launch the survey itself. Next year, we're going to build more on the technology. And my time's up, but in terms of my team, they believe in me. I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, that was a great pitch. Looks like you're trying to solve a very important problem for future generations. So my question was, once you get a school on board, how do they then sort of roll it out to their students and get them to use it?
Okay, so in terms of the schools, they already have industry partners, and the way they roll out is we kind of right now the schools that we're working with, we understand what their problems are, and they know the industry partners. There's no onboarding system for the schools at this stage. We're going to launch the beta version and test it out and build on the reviews that we get to onboard them simpler. But right now, it's a network of schools that we have good relationship. I will walk you through that. I don't know if that answers your question.
How do they get the students?
How do they get the students? So it's very much independent. It's not a compulsory thing. If it has to be compulsory, it has to go through Education Queensland. So it's very independent for an educator, for a principal to tell their kids that this is the platform we're using. It's going to explore the opportunities for you, and it's up to the students to enroll themselves. And I think they're just as much as excited to have a platform that simplifies that for them.
I'm curious how you've created revenue with our platform. What have you sold? How have you created the revenue?
How did I create revenue without actually having
a product? Yeah.
With my first startup, I learned that you didn't need a product. You need to understand what the problem is, and if you work hard enough to build your relationship and understand the problem, I think that's what took me to build a revenue model, is to build relationship, understand what the problem was, and work on the skills that I had. And the skills that I had were the human skills of building relationship and understanding the problem, and making them believe that this is what's going to change and make things easier for them, and they realize that it's a right problem for them. I think it's the right time as well to be working on a product like this. Educators now in schooling are actually understanding that education system is designed 200 years ago and it's not working. It's something that we saw in the World Economic Forum. Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, said that we have a 200-year-old education system and it's not working. We need young people to have soft skills, and the leaders that are on board understand that, and that's probably what's got me so far, is that these educators understand that it's a problem, and they've seen that.
Hey, have you spoken to Mike Casey?
I have.
Good.
I've spoken to Mike Casey.
Good. My question, Mike Casey, founder of Fishburners, runs Grad Connection, which is the largest platform that connects students with jobs.
Yes.
4 out of 5 students find their job on Grad Connection. No, I don't get paid for that, but give it a shout out.
No, that's a great pitch.
My question is just around focusing in the beginning, obviously at early stage. Is there particular skills or experiences or corporates you're focusing on at the moment? Obviously, there's a wide range of future skills that students need to learn. Are you focusing on one in particular to begin with while you scale this?
Personally, me and my team believe in building soft skills, because that's something that we believe that employers are looking for. Hard skills are easy to learn. You can get a certificate online these days, but the skills, teamwork, passion, enthusiasm, sharing, being able to share your critical thinking with other team members. I think those are the soft skills, the human skills that we have as people. I think that can't be learned through the traditional education system, and we've seen that over the years, that we put people through the uni or the 13 years of early schooling, and that's kind of what's making it hard that young kids are coming out don't have those skills. So personally, I want to have kids who come out of schooling with those soft skills, being able to go work with other people. So soft skills is something that I know it's worded differently. FYA are calling it enterprise skill, and there are many words for it, but soft skills is something that I'm passionate about.
Well done. You described the two challenges pretty good. So young people engaging in the platform itself, cutting through the apathy of young people actually say, here, you should use this platform, do they or don't they? How have you gotten the young people to actually engage with your platform?
How do we get them to engage with the platform? So it's been a 6-month process. We've been doing a lot of focus group with young people to understand what jobs and what skills is that they're looking for in futures. And we're learning a lot from being in front of those young people. We continue to do this focus group that will teach us more about what these cohort of generation are. And we hope to reach out through the school network that we have, and the principals and the community that have. We hope to reach out through that kind of sort of. But look, thank you very much. You've been amazing tonight.
Now we have some quick halftime entertainment, and to quickly introduce that's myself. Go me. What? That's it. What an MC, right? So Just quickly, could I get the KG, the Kelvin Grove State College people to quickly stand up for me? Can I have a big round of applause for So while I've been talking about the education system, the thing I love about Kelvin Grove State College is that they have been proactively looking for ways to give their students really great experiences. And so they reached out to Fishburners, we connected, and we've come up with what I'm now calling Startup School for some of their students to come through and actually go through a pre-accelerated program on how to start a business. We have Andrew and Tina, who I'm going to introduce now, who are going to do their own 3-minute pitch based on what we've been working on over the last couple of weeks together. But ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Andrew and Tina.
So, hello.
Hi.
I'm Andrew. This is Tiernan. We are the co-founders of Digital Education Solutions, engaging school students in the robotics of the future. So, who here has been 14 before?
No.
Who here had a subject at school they really loved? So for us, that subject is robotics. I've been working with robotics for almost 5 years. Tiernan's been working with robotics for just about a decade. Not even kidding. Other students we've talked to aren't always excited about robotics in class. No, instead of these, they get given these. We know from personal experience that robotics is awesome. We know from statistics that robotics is the way of the future. But without the tools and kits to engage students, robotics is struggling to gain interest. After consulting with schools, we found the main problem is, as you move towards more advanced systems, the robots start to require more complex manufacturing, soldering, and wiring. So we decided to fix this.
Our solution is a Arduino-based robotics platform that will allow students to simply create robotics solutions, I guess. And instead of using complicated wires like this, they get to use a standardized plug system like this, which is way easier to use and way quicker.
Our system will allow schools to deliver interesting robotics classes to students, and to aid this, we've designed the kit to be fully compatible with the new 2019 digital curriculum and made the bot easy to get up and running out of the box. One of our future goals is to have an online tutorial platform for students to use, making the robot even more accessible to students.
So the market size. Well, globally there are millions of schools that are obviously going to be trying to get their students to be prepared for the new future, I guess. And in Australia, we're going to be focusing on about 9,000 schools. However, in the first year or so, we're going to be focusing on only 2 to 5 schools to get the business up and running.
So students would either use the kits as part of their school curriculum or buy their own kit for personal use. Schools would buy the kits in bulk to use in their classrooms, pay for the subscription to the tutorial website for students to use. And we're also potentially looking at partnering with some coding camps and licensing them to use these robots as well.
So obviously we partnered with Kelvin Grove State College to they will probably turn into our first customer as well. We're looking for strategic partnerships with Education Queensland and many of the coding clubs and camps throughout Brisbane to gauge student interest with robotics. And
so pressure from students and parents has also been identified as a major factor in influencing school purchasing decisions. So we're focused on targeting student and parent awareness of the product to get schools into knowledge about the product and buying as well.
So the competition. As you can see, most robots, as they get more advanced, they get harder to use. So most of the robots, such as the Spiro and Arduino, as they get, Spiro is obviously more simple, and the Arduino is more advanced. Our product is kind of a combo between the two, where it's simple to use, but still advanced enough to engage students in robotics.
So our product offers the simplicity of the plug-and-play system, like your Mindstorms or your Edison, the equal levels of plug-and-play ability, but the more advanced opportunities of the Arduino. as it's been designed by us, two 14-year-old students, we know what will best engage students towards the digital future, so we can get that bit down pat. And as we said earlier, it's also been designed to be easy to use and quick to get students set up and running.
So financials. So we've done an amazing business and we've made tons of money. But as two 14-year-olds, we don't really have enough money to get a business off the ground. So in the next coming days, we're going to launch a Kickstarter campaign to pay for the well-known costs of starting a business and get it off the ground.
So our team is currently just us. Can't exactly go on the job finding website. So there's me, co-founder and chief executive officer, and Kieran, the other co-founder and chief product officer. We're both studying digital solutions at school. I'm studying business, while Tiana has come ninth at the Region International River Cup tournament in Costa Rica.
So our ask to you tonight is to support the business and the coming up Kickstarter campaign. And yeah, so if you donate $5, you get a crisp high five, which doesn't exist, but will be awarded. For $30, you get a t-shirt signed and designed by us, and for $300, you get our original prototype. Thanks.
You officially pitch to in front of an audience now.
How big are we counting here?
Well, more than me and Sue.
Yeah, this is the first.
First. I have two questions for you. First of all, how have you found the experience of Fishburners, and obviously with Kelvin Grove coming in every Tuesday? Tell us a little bit about how you found it.
It's been great. We've been learning a lot about all the entrepreneurship stuff. We've obviously been working on starting a business. We've worked a lot on our pitch. It's come a long way over the last two to 3 weeks. Two. Yeah, it's just been great. It's amazing. We've been learning a lot from Mark, from other founders in the room. The Wild's one of them. He's pretty good.
Now, in regards to, I know you've got a couple of people you want to thank. So, Keenan, do you want to quickly just say a couple of thank yous on behalf of you guys?
So we'd especially like to thank Kelvin Grove State College and Fishburners for our amazing experience here. And of course, our official sponsors, the mums and dads.
Andrew and the team will be here all night drinking very hard sparkling water. So if you'd like to quickly connect with them, they'll be here with their parents a little bit later. But ladies and gentlemen, one last time, big round of applause. Right back to you, Sarah.
Thank you. And I should mention both of the boys that they're starting a Kickstarter campaign. If you want more information, it is in the booklet this evening. So look up that URL, and if you want to throw them $5 in exchange for a crisp high five, I would recommend it. Moving right along to our third pitch this evening, we have Jenna. And a couple of fun facts about Jenna. She actually co-founded this business with her father, Dion, and this is her third public pitch ever. The first two she won, and that's why she's here tonight. Please make her welcome.
Who here remembers getting their driver's license? Most people. Well, it's a very exciting time for any young person. However, there is a serious side behind driving, which explains why our team exists. Some years ago, I lost my cousin in a senseless road accident caused by a young and distracted driver going straight through a stop sign. I've witnessed the devastation this has caused for my entire family for many years, all because of one moment that could have been prevented. Today, our greatest road safety challenge is sharing roads with drivers of various abilities, attitudes, and levels of experience. Many people often believe that accidents only happen to other people until sadly it hits home. My name is Jenna, co-founder of Yulu Drive, and we are helping digitally transform the learner driving industry. Our small and dedicated team shares the vision of improving road safety. Dion, our co-founder, is a business owner and entrepreneur and brings the driving industry knowledge and expertise, having previously been a driving instructor. He's also on our industry's leading body, ADTA, as a digital advocate. Our aim is holistic. We understand the industry challenges coming from a student, an instructor, and a social perspective. Professional learner driver tuition standards need to be raised, together with improving parent supervisory skills. Let's face it, driving instructors are not always the best technicians with building a business. They face chaotic days, booking lessons, meeting with parents, responding to texts and calls, generating leads, and on top of all of this, still trying to provide the best quality of instruction to their students. This leads to overwhelm, burnout, and inevitably high attrition rates of otherwise fantastic instructors. Within Australia, every single year, 40 million supervised hours are required to help 16-year-olds coming through achieve their driver's licence. The process needs to be simple and seamless, from finding a local accredited instructor all the way through to achieving the mandatory hours. When I got my licence not long ago, I was very fortunate in having a supportive family. However, not every student is this lucky. And a few weeks ago, I actually met a girl who grew up in the shelter care system with no family. And as a result, she really struggled to get her licence. And there's many similar stories like this for students who, for various reasons, are unable to accrue the mandatory logbook hours. With Yulu Drive, we are providing a single integrated industry solution for connecting learner drivers to driving instructors' individually branded businesses. We're improving industry standards, providing transparency and consumer choice. Using cutting-edge technology, we're bringing driving school businesses online, helping them to systemize and automate every mundane task involved in running their business, together with helping them grow their business organically. For students, we're providing a seamless customer experience, helping them to easily find local accredited and highly reviewed instructors, book and pay in real time directly into the calendar of the instructor, GPS track of their logbook hours, and receive valuable lesson notes for the feedback to enhance their learning experience. We're also just about to launch our trial campaign called No Learner Left Behind, which aims at providing community supervised volunteer drivers to assist disadvantaged students to accrue their logbook hours. So our initial market is Australia, where there's 5,000 active instructors. Current traction is over 1,000 registered learner drivers, together with 16 active driving instructors, and by July we'll have over 30 instructors on board. Since January, we've done over $100,000 worth of booking revenue, with Yulu taking a percentage of every lesson that's booked. So we're initially looking to scale locally. However, the exponential opportunity of looking at the UK, US, and potentially India markets is where real growth lies. We're global ready and ready to commercialise, and we've had customer inquiries from 4 different countries to date. So today, we're asking for your help. Investors, brand advocates who share our vision of improving road safety standards, corporate or government partnerships. Feel free to see me after the pictures. Thank you.
Thanks, well done. I wish this was around about 20 years ago. It would have saved me about 4 cars. How have you gone with getting the instructors on board? Like, what's your biggest challenge with onboarding them? Because they already have a certain way of doing things.
Yeah, fantastic question. Thanks, Chad. So initially, it has been a bit of a challenge getting the instructors on board. It's a bit of a tech agnostic market, to be honest. But we've made it no barriers to entry now because it's completely free for instructors if they come on board taking their business completely online. So they're actually getting it free. And we found the feedback we've got from those 16 instructors on board, once they've learnt how to use Yulu in their business and they've implemented it and changed from doing all their manual systems, we've had such positive feedback. So it's just getting the transition, and we're getting traction locally initially, but hopefully we're just about to launch our marketing campaigns. So hopefully that's going to just improve as we go.
Amazing pitch, really well done, and thank you so much for sharing your story, and I'm so sorry for your loss, but really appreciate you sharing that because it just really helps with the whole pitch and understanding why you're working on this. I saw you pitch a couple of weeks ago. I just want to say it's just come a long way since then, so really great job. It's a lot clearer what the value proposition is. My question was similar to Chad's, but I'll ask it on the other side. It's obviously a two-sided marketplace. How you've got 1,000 students already, that's fantastic, and congratulations on great revenue. How did you get those students on board? And I see you want money to scale. How have you seen scaling, I guess, the marketing side of things?
Yeah, so we initially want to prove the concept locally. How we've got those 1,000 students on board is when an instructor comes on board, they bring all their students on board. So as soon as they've decided to use Yulu, they'll just upload their students, and that's how we've generated those 1,000 students. In terms of marketing to students, I know my generation, everyone's on their phones, so we're really going hard through social media. And we're looking for investment in terms, we just need resources at the moment. So we have a small team, and we're really looking to grow our team so that we are able to have someone who's really strong with marketing to help us.
I want to second Pandora's point. That was a great pitch, and thank you for sharing your story. I think that really hits home why this is important. I want to pick up on what your response to Chad's question. So you take a clip of every lesson booked and that fee. Do you see that remaining the model, or you'll start charging instructors for the being on the platform and the business services?
Yeah, great question. So we have made it completely free at the moment, just to get that traction of instructors coming on board. No barriers to entry, so that's hopefully going to encourage them to take their business online. We don't see, in the foreseeable future, we don't see ourselves starting to charge instructors, but it's always changing. We're still in the early phases. At the moment, the student pays the small booking fee.
Likewise, I thank you for starting this business, but unlike Chad, I haven't already lost 4 cars, but my kids are going to start learning to drive in a few years, so I'm really grateful that you already exist. My question is around partnerships. Have you identified any potential partners? I mean, driver instructors is an excruciatingly fragmented industry.
Yeah.
They're all individual small businesses. Are there industry partnerships that would help you reach and scale faster?
Yes, so I suppose the main industry partnerships we'd be looking for is government connections, especially they're launching Propel, which is a new government initiative which replaces the 30 multi-choice questionnaire in order to be able to start to learn to drive with a 4-hour interactive whole thing. So it would be awesome if we could be marketed off the back of that as the next step. So they do the Propel, they get the go-ahead to be able to start to drive with mum or dad or an instructor, and then we're marketed off the back of it. It's the next logical step, as well as the RACQs. But government's the main one we're focusing on at the moment. We've actually just had our logbook approved by TRM, so that's going to be on the website, and we've got the go-ahead for that today. So that's
Big round of applause for Jenna.
Okay, our lucky. Sorry, now I'm done. Our lucky last pitch for this evening is Stuart. Stuart is the founder of NoiseNet. He's actually just recently returned from the Fueled Accelerator in Sydney and is currently raising a seed round of investment. And last week he nearly ended his business live on stage, but I'm sure that's not the case this evening. So please make him welcome.
NoiseNet helps people avoid or resolve noise issues in their own home. What is a home for you? It's your space. It's your space to relax, to rest, to escape, to enjoy and to share. The problem is, for hundreds of thousands of people, even millions across the country, their home is impacted by intrusive noise from all range of different spaces. And it impacts every aspect of your enjoyment of your home. If you can't sleep, if you can't enjoy while you have visitors, if you can't relax and rest, it's a significant issue. Now, last week I created a little bit of a stir by saying we're done. We've pivoted. We've changed our business to focus away from the consumer who doesn't want to pay in advance to find out, to the person who is suffering today from intrusive noise. These are the people that are ringing me on a daily basis, often in tears, often using language that I'm told I can't use tonight, so to say that something's got to be done, I need help. We target consumers who have noise problems, but we're working more towards the councils, the governments, the police that have to solve these problems on a day-to-day basis. The council tries hard, the police try hard, but they don't have the technology and they don't have the resources to do this job effectively. At first, they ask someone to solve the problem themselves, which is actually good advice. Talk to your neighbour, tell them, explain. But once it goes beyond that, they lack the data. They lack the resources to actually solve the problem. And they try and hide. They try and avoid the problem. They hope it will go away. And as a result, there's a terrible consumer result. The market is huge, 250,000 complaints a year. And our surveys have indicated that only 1 in 10 people who have a noise complaint actually raise a complaint. So there's a bigger underlying problem that's just not getting addressed. If we can get 20%, if we can get our process involved in 20% of those complaints, that's a $25 million business at our current prices. And we've also identified a range of other sectors outside the municipal area where we can generate revenue. We think is another 10 to 15 million a year. Our solution is an IoT-based device. Thank you, Optus. Powered by Optus. In fact, we do have Optus SIM cards. It's a noise monitoring device. Now, these aren't new. They've been around for years and years. What we're doing is we're using ours in a different way. We gather data cheaply and automated at the site of a noise complaint. We analyse it and we generate outputs, either reports, dashboards, or alerts. But we're using smart technology. We're not telling you how loud, we're telling you why, what's making it loud. This is an example of our system telling you how much the dog next door is barking. And we can single down to a specific noise source to give the council exactly the data they need. Our competitors, well, really we're just displacing the council from doing a job badly by doing a good job, all right? There's a UK startup that's doing some stuff in the same area. There's a big sleeping giant of acoustic consultants that are just 10 times too expensive. The council will never use them. Where are we with traction? So in the noise complaint space, we are working with Redland Council. We have 30 jobs active with them at present. Logan, we have 2 trials underway, and we're working with them also on legal review. So they're actually looking at changing their local law to utilise our technology because it will solve massive problems for them. We're also talking with Brisbane Airport and Air Services Australia about 4 major airport upgrades across the country. We're also selling data that we analyse from open data and data that we generate from our own noise monitors. We have a range of customers that we're looking to exploit in that sector. I have an awesome time, but the bell's gone, so I can't tell you the details. We've built our tech. It's working. It's in the field. It's going now. Our financials, since our pivot away from data-driven towards device-driven, the financials are tougher. It takes longer to build revenue. The margins aren't quite as good. Part of the reason we need to raise. But the growth with things like state government contract that we hope a purchase order will come in a couple of days for our first work with them, and the stuff in the airport sector, we're more than going to make up for it. So our ask 500,000 Brisbane Angels, I see a few in the room, are leading our round, and we're looking for people to syndicate. If you want to join us, we're going to revolutionise noise across the world. Thank you.
Awesome pitch, Stuart. Do you know about Brisbane City Council's Better Brisbane proposals?
We were rejected.
Just once?
And
when was that?
Once and a half. Once and a half.
When? How long ago?
Last go was, I don't know, 5 months, January probably.
Okay.
And I quote, "We are not very innovative. Go and work with some of the smaller councils. Once that's going, come back and talk to us." And Redland and Logan have been goddamn awesome.
Love Redland.
And they are.
Oh, God. Let's talk next week.
Am I noisy? That was a really great pitch, Stuart. I was wondering, how are you managing, your focus in terms of the data sales and then the first part of it?
Okay, so right back to the beginning, we started monitoring, device monitoring, and we realised it was complex, it was going to take time, and we came up with the idea of using open data to be able to predict and calculate noise levels at any address. So we now have an active model that does that. You type in your address, we'll tell you how loud that property is.
Ooh.
We went out to the consumer market. We got tons of traction. We've done nearly 800 reports, $5, no one will pay, right? It's crazy. You're going to buy a house. If you can't sleep in it, you just spent $750,000 plus really badly, but they won't pay even $5. So we've had to park that for now. I still think there's a wonderful market there, but we've got that model. So, for instance, Air Services Australia. There's a new airport here in Brisbane, or a new runway in Brisbane, in Melbourne, in Perth, and a new airport in Sydney. They want to get the message out to residents now to say what's going to change. So in October, when they release their final airport flight path plan, we're talking about ingesting that into our model, providing them with the tool that every consumer can go in, see what the impact is on their property, their topography, compare it with the road, the railway line, all that sort of stuff. So that was the data side of our business. But we're also using the device to feed data into that model so it gets better and better over time.
Great pitch, Stuart, and great job for actually going out, asking customers what they think, getting their feedback and pivoting. A lot of people don't do that, end up going down the road too far with the wrong customers, so fantastic job.
We went too far.
Well, look, you pivoted eventually, so that's great. I just had a question. I know we skipped over the team slides, but what got you into this? What's your background? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, look, personal story. Bought a house, couldn't sleep. Pretty well. Invite friends over to welcome us into the house. We couldn't talk. We had to go inside. Beautiful balcony. Couldn't use it. Now, we were lucky. We had good neighbours who eventually, it took about 3 years, we've got the problem under control. Lots of people, a lot of the customers we have, people go, your dog's waking me at night and now I need to use language that someone won't let me use.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's not appropriate. You called me out. So, yeah, a lot of people really don't care. But the challenge for the council is, when does the dog bark? When gathering the data solves the problem. And that's what we're doing.
Well done, Stuart. Definitely I like this one because I saw your last one as well. This one's good. I should say. Definitely need it. I have a dog. My dog barks occasionally, but my dog's deaf, so doesn't know it's barking, so it's a bit of an awkward thing.
Get him a hearing aid. Maybe number one could do that.
When you engage with councils, what are the challenges? Is there any traction, say, within the smart city thing? I'm seeing these units. Can you stick them in? Is it part of the lighting system? I know I've heard some stories there as far as getting sound monitoring integrated with lighting, that kind of thing, or is it still just a standalone unit they install at certain locations in a neighborhood?
Look, at this point, it's case by case for a specific job. We are definitely interested in integrating with smart city initiatives where there are, every fifth lamppost has a series of smart sensors. We'll partner with that because the cost of getting these out in the field is the single biggest part of our business. Now we're shifting. We've been doing all the installs ourselves. We've just built an upgraded monitor that's robust enough that we can send to the client. So they'll do the install, but even better, if they're already there, all we need to do is download the data. So we would love that opportunity. It hasn't presented itself yet, but it's definitely a way to reduce costs in our business and, give us the ability to grow much, much faster.
Wonderful job, Stu. Congratulations. Now, we're nearing the final band. Big Fish, we're going to invite you to exit to the door to your left and choose who your Big Fish winner is going to be. And we're going to have some surprises for the audience. So I'm going to throw it to you, Sarah. What's happening?
We are indeed. So we preempted that you might be a little restless. So to kind of lighten the mood, we actually have 2 lucky seat prizes this evening. So under 2 chairs are 2 $50 JB Hi-Fi vouchers. Avoid the chewing gum, that will no doubt be under there also. And
the winner! Who are the winners?
Yeah. On envelope.
Where's the other?
There's one more winner.
Audrey's like, where's the we'll have to like your shares on Monday.
Yeah. If it's not on the...
All right, congratulations. Big round of applause. Now, while we wait for the big judges, Big Fish, we also want to acknowledge the fact that it was International Selfie Day last week. And so we're going to take a selfie on the stage.
An ultimate selfie.
So that you can all remember that you're part of the inaugural Fishburners work. Sarah, can you tell a joke while I work this out?
4 startups walk into a bar. No one can afford a drink. That's a horrible joke. I swear that was on the spot.
All right, so everybody.
All right.
We're going to need
everybody.
Excited! We can meet you guys.
Yeah. Yes, it counts. Definitely counts. All right, and we'll cheer on 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Woo!
All right. Rubber time. 3.
1, 2, 3.
Wonderful. That'll be on the website later. Then lastly, while we're waiting for the Big Fish, we wanted to quickly invite 2 of our members to come up and actually say thank you from their point of view. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to quickly invite Greg and Kaz up to the stage to say thank you on behalf of the members. Big round of applause for them.
Thank you. I'm vertically challenged to, unlike Greg. So these pitch events, would you agree, Greg? These pitch events have been incredible.
Absolutely.
Yes. They have given us a world of experience at pitching that we wouldn't have had otherwise in front of a massive audience. Did you pitch as well?
I did, but unfortunately I didn't get the cheer from the audience.
Really? Oh. What the hell? That's okay. We know Duval's very popular. Oh, good. No hard feelings, really. Yeah, don't worry about it, Duval. It's all good. We want to thank Mark and his amazing, amazing team, Kate and Sarah and Kat and Ayush, and am I missing Ria? Anyone else? Yeah, and the audience, thank you for coming every week. It's been amazing.
I want to add, thank you to all of you here tonight. Great that you're turning up. I know free beer and pizza helps, but it really does help the startups to have a real audience listening to us. And I wanted to thank my fellow cohort, the other startups in the audience. The thing about this place is the community. It is the help we give each other, and this is part of it. And I really do, from here, thank you.
Here's that awkward moment where there's 4 really good pitches and we need to try and get the big fish in sooner rather than later. Sarah, we might have to quickly.
Please don't make me tell another joke.
Probably no jokes this time.
Karaoke?
Just karaoke.
Morning, Bradley, take it away.
I think the big fish are not too far away. I'll send Kat out to get them back. But just quickly, Sarah, this has been your first major event series here at Fishburners. What's been your favourite moment?
This moment has been amazing. When we launched this event 10 weeks ago, I really didn't know how it would work. We actually had, before this, we had Friday pitches, but they're a little bit more internal, where we had about 20 people. So to have 170 in the room this evening is incredible, and I'm very grateful to everyone in the audience for coming.
Awesome. Big round of applause for the audience. Back in the audience, Chad and Gina, would you like to come up or is Kat still here to announce the winner? Coming back in 2 minutes. Bless, they're going to kill me here. It's going to be a beauty if Pandora and Kat don't come soon. Do we have a winner? Is there a winner that's been chosen?
Yes.
Excellent.
Would you like to tell us?
Big round of applause for Pandora, who can announce the winner.
Firstly, congratulations to all pitchers. Honestly, amazing job. A few of you pitched a couple of times, and everyone just said it was great to see your progression and improvement over the whole competition. So thank you so much. All right, drum roll. The winner is Fleet Mail.
And sign your pen up, please.
I'm so happy to do that. Last time I intended to do that when I first saw your pitch, and then realised I left my charger.
Yes, with me.
What's the website again?
Yeah,
for the live stream?
So www.fleamail.com.au. It's like I said, it's a 2-minute process. And hopefully, you don't have to go back to our website or anything. You just do it once, set it up, and for the next 10 years of your pet's exceedingly healthy life, we'd like to take care of it for you.
Excellent. Now for the audience's choice. So I'm going to get the 3 remaining, oh wow, cool. The 3 remaining startups to come back up to the stage, and we're going to choose the audience's pick. A round of applause as they come up. One last time, we're going to practice your biggest cheer. Let's pretend that your best friend has given you 2 Lamborghinis. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes, to my best friends out there on the live stream, that's not a bad idea. We're going to go in order. We're going to go Dewald, then Jenna, then Stuart. On the count of 3, I need you to cheer as loud as you possibly can for the person you think should win. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, on the count of 3 for Dewald. 3, 2, 1. They love you more than 2, but like 2 Lamborghinis. That's awesome. Congratulations. We're going to have Jenna on 3, 2, 1. That was good 5 Lamborghinis, I reckon. All right, Stuart, on 3, 2, 1. The funniest part is that I'm actually judging this off Stuart's noise detector. No, I saw that the wild card, Stuart, who was nearly going to quit his business last week live on stage, is the audience's choice. Congratulations. Now, you can take a seat. Take a seat. And then we're coming up to the last final bit. So, from our point of view, thank you very much for everybody coming along tonight. A couple of last thank yous. Firstly, pitchers, if you could stand up one last time to the poor pictures and Andrew and Peter. A big thank you to our sponsors, both our corporate sponsors here at Fishburners and to the sponsors who sponsored tonight and for the series. Big round of applause for them as well. And then lastly, to the team, could the team just stand out wherever you are, including you, Audrey, because you are now part of the honorary member of the team. You guys don't see how hard these people work sometimes, and so I just want to have a big round of applause for Kat, for Ayush, for Kate, for Sarah. Last thank you. So this person hasn't been at Fishburners long, but this is her brainchild. She's put all this together. She's organised everything from the sponsors to the pictures to the crowd to the Red Bull to everything you've seen tonight. She's got a logistics plan that's like 3 miles long. She has done an amazing job of putting this on. Sarah, ladies and gentlemen. She would like to get one of those. But apart from that, ladies and gentlemen.
And it's not just Sarah that's been organising this. We'll give a round of applause to Mark.
One last time, thank you very much for coming out tonight and making this such a big event for us. We're going to put the music back on. We're going to get the beers back out to the big fish, to the pictures and sponsors. Thank you. Welcome back to Fishburners and have a wonderful rest of your night.
From a festival, video and that.